Welcome back to another episode of the Scale Smart podcast. I'm your host, Jacob, and also the founder of Next Scale Growth. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Tom Kirkham, the CEO and founder of Kirkham IronTech. Tom, thank you for joining me today.
No, it's my pleasure, Jacob. Glad to be here.
So, Tom, kick us off. Tell me a little bit more about yourself, what your experience consists of, and what you guys do at Kirkham IronTech.
That's a good question. I was in a software company. I live in a small town in Arkansas. So a software company in a small town in Arkansas is kind of weird, but I was the founder of it and the second in charge of it for several years. And we got caught up in the dot-com fiasco and I got laid off. So I founded Kirkham IronTech to have a job. And that's what started Kirkham IronTech about 25 years ago. And we did break fix IT work. And then we got into managed services. We got into cybersecurity now. And we are basically an outsourced IT company for other companies.
Interesting. And when you was laid off, when the dot-com era came into place, what made you start the company? Why didn't you just go and just get a job? What made you go and start the entrepreneurial route?
That's a good question as well. I'm in a small town in Arkansas running a software company, which there's no alternatives here. My wife and I did not want to move. So it was one of those, I had no other choice. And because I wasn't really employable, I have no college degree. And although I feel like I've spent enough money learning over the years that I should have at least a master's from Harvard by now. But nevertheless, that's what I did. It's the typical story out of the book, The E-Myth, right? It's been around, 30 years or so. And it's, some people may look at it like, well, I'm tired of working for the man. I'm a great accountant. I'm going to hang my own shingle out. Others are like me. They just need a job. And so, that is a myth. That's an entrepreneurial myth that most entrepreneurs do it because they have some grand vision. The reality is people more like myself. And so then you realize that there's so much more to just running the company than just having the technical skills to manage networks and provide cybersecurity services. You got to really develop and educate yourself on things like finance and management and marketing and sales. And in order to scale the business, you have to have that foundational knowledge of how all of those different roles, departments, and other aspects of the company fit together in order to get the entire company to all fly in the same direction with the same values and ethics. And, especially when it comes to treating clients and vendors and other relationships, we have stakeholders, and in our case, the community is one of the stakeholders in our company, and just like vendors are, and employees and clients, and that kind of touches on the culture part, and that's something that we've focused on for years, and we've actually put systems and processes now to where we bring new talent on board. We have a very unique interview process to where we work on understanding how they tick, because we've got to make sure they're a good culture fit as well, not just technically skilled. And if I have to say anything, I think if you don't address the culture, executing strategy can be much more difficult and much more expensive and higher risk. Because Peter Drucker says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And what he means by that is you can do things quicker. You may make mistakes, but the right culture will adapt and change for the unknown unknowns that you haven't thought of. And that's something that's very important to scaling a company. And the earlier you recognize that and really spend time invested in the culture, the smoother everything else runs.
And in 2022, Tom, you merged Kirkham IT and IronTech Security. So when doing that pivot, what were some of the biggest challenges you encountered while doing that?
It's really more of a marketing thing. We launched IronTech Security as a national security services provider. So, and we have customers all over the country, Hawaii to New York, and then up and down. And because since we're in a small market, we already have mind share and brand awareness and all of that. We were limited in our ability to grow. So with cybersecurity services, you can do that remote. You don't have to have boots on the ground. So we wanted to set the branding apart from the local company. And then as time passed on, we realized that, okay, we've established this as a nationwide company, so let's put the two together. And we were already sharing. The budget wasn't shared. Financial was broken out separately, but we were already sharing the support staff and the operational components of the company between those two different divisions. Now, I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. I think every situation is unique, but that's the path we went down. And I think everything runs a lot smoother overall. But developing that separate division, it really allowed us to really dial in a focus on cybersecurity, which a lot of IT management companies treat it as an add-on, even as an option, believe it or not. Like, we've got these great cybersecurity defense offerings if you can afford it. And we kind of flip that on its head, and we say to our clients, especially after the merger, security is job one, because a mistake there can be fatal. And it doesn't matter how big or small you are, you can go out of business very easily. The numbers all support it. So here's what to be a client of ours, here's what you're going to do security wise. And when it comes to IT, we're going to focus on getting that return on investment. All that money you spend on IT, we're going to give you numbers and prove to you that bottom line is being affected each and every single day. Because that's what IT is. That's an investment in productivity and all of that stuff. And we try our best to quantify that. Like, your server's not going down, you're staying up to date on your equipment, you're not running them into the ground, your help desk is really, really smooth and friendly. And because the last thing anybody wants to do is call the help desk, right? So we want to make sure there's no friction in that engagement. We want to make sure it's, hey, we're on the same team. And all of our pricing and our business model is all designed around that. It's in our best interest for you to have fewer and fewer problems, because we're more profitable and you're more profitable. And so that's one of our core philosophies. And so we have to continuously prove our value each and every day.
And I think cybersecurity is evolving so fast now as well. And what would you say, Tom, are some of the internal frameworks or strategic partnerships that you're prioritizing in order to stay ahead or to stand out to other MSPs?
That's a great question as well. The first thing that we decided on many years ago is we wanted to be a best of breed company. So what does that mean? That means when we're looking at vendors and their products, we aren't just going to settle for a vendor that has a full suite of products. To us, each one of those products should be the best of breed or very near the top. And that's the very first thing we think about when we're offering these security products to our clients. So, for example, in the EDR world, this AI-driven cybersecurity defense, generally speaking, most people would say the top two in the business are CrowdStrike and SentinelOne. And we chose CrowdStrike many years ago, well over 10 years ago. And we continually evaluate these products. Sometimes we rip and replace. Sometimes we'll add other products, like Huntress is another one. And they have a unique role to fulfill in that market. So what that means is that we're less likely, our clients are less likely to have a problem because we're not using the best vendor we can possibly find for them. Now, it creates other problems from scale and other operational issues because sometimes the things don't play nice together. And it's up to us to make sure we pick people that their products play nicely with other vendors' products. But that's just part of it. But we're very, very confident in our ability to defend clients from an attack. And so far, we've got a 100% success rate. I don't want to lead anybody down the road to say that we guarantee 100%. There are no guarantees when it comes to cybersecurity defense. But I hope I can always say that. And that tells me that we're doing the right things.
100%. And I know you just touched upon there, you mentioned the word AI. So I want to get into the next question, which I've got now related to that. So with your public insights and your commentary on AI-enabled cyber attacks, Tom, how do you view AI's role in both offensive threats and also the defensive strategies as well?
Yeah. So the good news is we've been using AI and machine learning and the two or three different versions of the whole AI world, right? Well, on the defensive front, we've been using AI for years, literally 10 years probably. And so we're ahead of the game on that. And the bad guys didn't really start using AI until ChatGPT started hitting the mainstream. What was that, a couple of years ago now, 2.5 years ago? And we started seeing them do these typical, most people don't realize the vast majority of attacks are done at scale. They're not targeted. They don't even know who the target is. They don't care who the target is. So they're genning out a million different emails, phishing emails, to get somebody to click on a malicious link, and they just hope they get a high conversion rate of victims, right? And that's just a numbers game. Well, now with AI, the bad guys can scrape LinkedIn and other publicly available resources and draw out an org chart for your company for these million different emails and drop it into a spreadsheet and an automated email campaign. And now all of a sudden, instead of the phishing email looking like it is coming from, say, QuickBooks, like you've got to renew your QuickBooks support plan or whatever, and here's a link, it's malicious. Now they're getting emails that looks like it's from their boss that they report to, asking them to click on a link or manipulating them further. So that increases the success rate, the conversion rate for the bad guys. And with AI, they can do it at scale. Before, they had to have a reason to invest time, money, and energy to targeting an individual company. And we've seen both sides of that, because we've been targeted for years. I've personally been targeted for years, where humans are investing money in researching me and our company to see these relationships and who we do business with and who our clients are. And now they're doing it at scale. That's one of the reasons why we don't disclose who our clients are, because it raises their risk profile. And consequently, we're very sensitive. And I put a research article, or kind of a leadership article, on the forum, Leader to Leader. It just got published a week or two ago. Kenzie can get the link to you. But we talking about the ethical things that a company, especially like ours, have to think about when we start putting our own client data into these AI sites and tools. Because if it's being used in other ways, now we're divulging sensitive, secret information. And I think there's a lack in most businesses that, sales and marketing drives everything, and we're using it for sales and marketing, but we can't, in our business, man, it'd be really nice if we can crawl through all of our tickets and pick up, trouble areas or things that we need to work on using AI. But before we can do that, we got to be very clear on what this company's privacy policies are, how they're going to use our proprietary data and our clients' private data. We got to be very careful about that. So, it's a cliche, but it's a double-edged sword, or maybe it's a 10-edged sword, AI. But it's just I just encourage everybody not to forget the danger to the data and the risk that you may be unwittingly divulging to companies that may not have your security and privacy at heart.
And Tom, just to finish up, over the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months, what are some of the goals you've got for the company?
Well, that's one of them. How do we take all of these disparate data silos and use AI to basically provide better service to our clients, better protection to our clients, better service to our vendors? We treat vendors as a partner. We want their products to be successful, and we'll do everything we can to make sure that happens. How best do we utilize AI to assimilate all this data, interpret it quickly, because it's a lot of data, and at the same time maintain privacy and secrecy for these other stakeholders in our company. That's our priority going forward and for the foreseeable future, other than quantifying and providing further return on investment for our clients and other stakeholders. That's how we're going to leverage AI going forward.
Well, Tom, and if people wanted to reach out to you and find out a little bit more or maybe inquire about what you guys do, where's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is, just go on KirkhamIronTech.com and fill out the form, the contact form, and it'll get routed to me no matter what your question may be, and I'd be happy to talk to you about whatever you're interested in.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure as well.